Why do you pull away from the very thing you say you want most? You crave connection, real soul-level intimacy. Yet when it comes close, something in you retreats. You start to feel smothered, restless, or suspicious. You pick fights. You go silent. You suddenly become too busy. You might even convince yourself that you just haven't met the right person yet. But if you look honestly, you'll see the pattern has less to do with them and everything to do with you. Intimacy in the Jungian sense is not simply closeness with another person. It is psychological nakedness, the willingness to be seen as you truly are, without your masks, without your performance, without the armor that kept you safe in childhood. That kind of intimacy is terrifying for many men because it threatens the very structure of the persona, the socially approved self you've built to survive. Jung wrote that individuation, the journey toward wholeness, requires confronting what stands between you and authenticity. Fear of intimacy is one of those barriers. It's not weakness, it's protection. But protection, once useful, becomes prison. This conversation is not about romance alone. It's about your relationship to vulnerability itself, the place where your power, love, and freedom all intersect. 1. What it actually is and what it isn't. Fear of intimacy is not fear of people, it's fear of exposure. It's the unease that arises when someone gets close enough to see the cracks in your armor, the parts of you you've worked so hard to manage, hide, or deny. Most men confuse intimacy with loss of control. They fear that if someone truly knows them, their doubts, their tenderness, their need, they'll lose power, respect, or independence. But that's a distortion created by a lifetime of equating openness with weakness. In truth, intimacy is not dependency, it's reciprocity. It's not merging, it's meeting. It's two sovereign people bringing their full, unguarded selves to each other. The adaptive function of avoiding intimacy once made perfect sense. It protected you from rejection, humiliation, or manipulation. It taught you to survive emotional environments that felt unsafe. The problem is, that same defense still runs even when safety is present. The gold hidden inside this fear is sensitivity. The very quality that made you cautious is also what makes you capable of depth. You notice details others miss. You sense moods in a room. You feel deeply, but you learn to treat those gifts as liabilities because they once got you hurt. Reclaiming intimacy isn't about forcing openness. It's about trusting that your sensitivity, when matured, becomes wisdom. So when we talk about fixing fear of intimacy, we're not talking about forcing yourself to love faster or reveal more. We're talking about dismantling the old belief that you must be perfect to be loved or guarded to be safe. The truth is simpler and harder. Intimacy begins the moment you stop managing the impression you make and start allowing yourself to be seen as you are. 2. How it appears in ordinary life. You can see this fear in 1,000 small behaviors. You start dating someone and just when things feel safe, you pick at flaws, become critical, or withdraw. You intellectualize every feeling, analyzing love instead of experiencing it. You keep conversations on safe topics, never letting them drift toward your deeper needs or fears. You feel anxious when someone expresses strong affection, as though their love is an obligation you must now perform. At work, you may find yourself avoiding vulnerability too, staying in roles that require competence but not authenticity, avoiding emotional connection with colleagues or subordinates. You might feel lonely even in groups, respected but unseen. 3 common markers reveal this fear clearly. Disproportion. Small acts of closeness feel overwhelming. A partner's honest question triggers panic, as if they're demanding too much. Projection. You label others as clingy or demanding, when really they're just inviting you into deeper contact. Repetition. Every relationship ends for the same reason. Too intense, too fast, too soon. But what's repeating isn't their behavior. It's your defense. This fear often hides under a polished exterior, independence, calmness, self-sufficiency. But these can be disguises for avoidance. You may be proud that you don't need anyone. The question is, does that make you strong or does it make you safe? 3. Origins and the boy who stayed. Behind every man who fears intimacy is a boy who once learned that closeness comes with a cost. Perhaps he grew up with a mother who was loving but intrusive, blurring boundaries and making affection feel suffocating, or a father who was distant or critical, teaching him that love must be earned through performance, or maybe both were preoccupied, leaving him with the silent conclusion that his needs were inconvenient. That boy made an unconscious contract. If I don't need too much, I won't be rejected. So he became self-reliant, stoic, charming, or invisible, whatever kept love stable. He learned to offer help instead of asking for it, to give attention rather than receive it, to seduce rather than be vulnerable. It worked beautifully until it didn't. As an adult, that boy still operates the controls. He still measures every interaction by safety, not truth. He wants love, but he wants it without risk, and that combination doesn't exist. Real intimacy always carries danger. The danger of being misunderstood, the danger of being hurt, the danger of being changed, but also the possibility of being met fully for the first time. To reclaim intimacy, you don't destroy that boy. You meet him. You tell him that he no longer has to manage love like a negotiation, that he can rest, that you, the adult man, can handle what he once couldn't. 4. Contact without collapse. When you start to face this fear, it will feel like standing in front of a mirror that doesn't flatter you. You'll see your evasions, your manipulations, your rehearsed indifference. You might even feel ashamed, as though your emotional distance makes you broken. It doesn't. It makes you human. Contact means being able to observe the fear without collapsing into it. You notice when your partner gets close and your body tenses. Instead of judging it, you name it. This fear is older than this moment. That single sentence separates you from the reaction. You begin to realize that your nervous system isn't reacting to this person. It's reacting to every unsafe closeness from your past. Jung said that what we most need is often found in the place we least want to look. Intimacy is that place. The discomfort you feel when someone sees you is not a signal to run. It's a signal that your deeper self is being invited out of hiding. The work is not to fix the fear, but to relate to it differently, to see it as a messenger, not an enemy. You may have spent years building a fortress to protect your heart. Now you're learning that walls don't only keep danger out, they also keep life out. 5. Containment before expression. As you allow more closeness, emotions long suppressed will rise. Sadness for the affection you never received, anger at the people who failed to meet you, grief for the years you spent pretending you didn't care. The instinct will be to unload it all at once, to finally be open. But unfiltered vulnerability is not intimacy. It's emotional flooding. Containment means you hold the emotion, not deny it. You feel it fully, but you remain the one steering it. This is how the masculine grows in emotional depth, not by becoming fragile, but by learning to carry more without shattering. Many men fear that showing emotion will make them less masculine, but it's actually the lack of containment that weakens them. True strength is being able to stay steady in the presence of your own feelings and someone else's, to let love, fear, and pain move through you without reacting from panic or pride. Containment transforms fear into fuel. It teaches you that intimacy doesn't have to overwhelm you because you're no longer the boy being engulfed. You're the man holding the vessel. 6. Consequences of avoidance versus integration. Avoiding intimacy keeps you safe, but also starving. It numbs the edges of life that make it meaningful. You can have sex without closeness, relationships without vulnerability, friendships without honesty, but none of them will touch you deeply. You'll live surrounded by people, yet profoundly alone. Avoidance has another cost. It freezes growth. You can't become whole without being mirrored. Intimacy is the psychic mirror that reveals who you truly are, not through fantasy, but through friction. The person who loves you will inevitably touch your wounds, not because they want to hurt you, but because they can't avoid the places where you're still armored. Without intimacy, those parts remain unchallenged and therefore unhealed. Integration, on the other hand, turns fear into wisdom. You begin to recognize that love isn't a trap, it's a teacher. You learn to distinguish between fusion and connection, between losing yourself and being met. You stop chasing excitement and start cultivating presence. And something remarkable happens. When you stop fearing intimacy, you stop fearing yourself. You no longer need to hide your flaws because you realize they don't make you unlovable. They make you real. 7. Archetypal framing: king, warrior, magician, lover. In Jungian masculine psychology, intimacy lives in the lover archetype, the part of the psyche that seeks unity, beauty, sensuality, and connection. When the lover is wounded, he oscillates between extremes, either detachment to avoid pain or obsession to avoid loss. He doesn't relate, he consumes or retreats. When the warrior dominates, he treats intimacy like a battlefield, needing to maintain control. When the magician dominates, he intellectualizes love, analyzing it to death. When the king is absent, no one brings order. The result is emotional chaos, disguised as freedom. Integration happens when the king returns to the throne. He allows the lover to feel, the warrior to protect, the magician to understand, but none to rule. The mature king knows that intimacy is not submission, it's stewardship. He knows that to love deeply is not to lose strength, but to refine it. The unhealed man uses relationships to fill a void. The integrated man uses them to grow a soul. 8. Responsibility and witness. Every man must face the truth that intimacy cannot be outsourced. You can't buy it, charm it, or hack it. You must live it. That begins with responsibility, not the kind that fixes others, but the kind that stays present with discomfort instead of running from it. You'll need solitude to hear the parts of you that still distrust closeness, and you'll need witness, people who remind you that openness isn't weakness, it's courage. Brotherhood teaches this best. Men who can look you in the eye and say, "I see you, all of you, and I'm not going anywhere." The path to intimacy isn't about becoming softer, it's about becoming truer. You don't heal through technique, you heal through honesty. Every time you let someone see you and you don't die from it, your capacity expands. Every time you stay open after rejection, your heart grows stronger. Every time you choose truth over protection, you reclaim sovereignty. You were not born afraid of love. You learned it, and what is learned can be unlearned. The walls you built were wise once, they saved you, but now they keep you from living. The real question isn't whether you can love, it's whether you can let yourself be loved. When you stop running from closeness, you'll realize it was never the other person you feared. It was the reflection they offered, the one that shows you without disguise who you really are. That's the sacred mirror. That's intimacy. So look, don't flinch. Let yourself be seen. Be that man. Not perfectly, reliably, to begin.